So the Toyota Land Cruiser is obviously an iconic vehicle. You can think of it as kind of like the gem of Toyota. The company has built a trust and faithful following over the years that they've honed it. And something that I appreciate is whether you keep it stock or you modify it, it is an incredibly capable and beautiful car. So talking about like the Toyota scripted grills or the four-wheel drive badging, or even that kind of, that iconic rear louver vent that you see on them, and that's kind of transcended all of the generations. That's all those little things and details are exclusively Land Cruiser. This is a 1995 Land Cruiser. It has the FZ engine, so 212 horsepower, just the standard straight 6. So with this truck, I've actually inherited a lot of the modifications. So it's actually starting just what's under the hood, it's standard, right? It's still the stock engine, FZ engine. The modifications around the truck have been Dobinson, so 3-inch lift, Dobinson lift. It has 35s and steely wheels give it this kind of very subtle utilitarian look that I enjoy. Very simple. It has a custom roof rack. It has a coastal off-road rear bumper, ARB front bumper, depot lights, the Corbeau bucket seats in the front. Inside it, it has a Sony Apple Play system and like a Vava dash cam, which is pretty cool. But what my plans are with it, I don't plan on doing engine swap quite yet or making it supercharged. I just want to make sure that it's mechanically sound and enjoyable. The truck that I got, the 80 Series I got, doesn't have locker. It's not triple locked. Truthfully, I probably don't need that, but it is a highly desired feature for any Land Cruiser, really. It's particularly the 80s. So I'm from Yemen in the southern Arabian Peninsula, and that region is very mountainous and pretty rugged. And it's also dry, arid, which are good conditions, I guess, to maintain a Land Cruiser, because you don't have a lot of humidity and moisture and salt and ice. So you'll see these 60 series and FJ55s just lugging around still in like common use, and it's because it's very mountainous, and sometimes you have urban areas, but to get to the rural areas or the villages, you really have to climb pretty serious mountains with a lot of jagged rocks. In my short visits over there, I've seen a fully basic stock 60 or 62 or 80 just hauling all this type of gear on the roof rack. It's a testament, right, to the capability of a Land Cruiser. So that kind of explains why they're very commonplace in that part of the world and other parts of the world. Growing up, my dad and my uncle's family, they would always marvel and talk about Land Cruisers and how they would enjoy driving it. And even at a young age, that kind of rubbed off on me. Even at the age of 10, I could recognize a Land Cruiser on the road and call it out. That's how I learned how to drive a manual. The first car I learned how to drive a manual was actually a 1984 FJ80 that my uncle owned. Growing up, I remember our neighbor actually had an emerald green 80 series. It might have been a collector's edition or something, and I remember walking to school, always seeing that vehicle, just enjoying the beauty that it had. And then later on, I always wanted one, and finally got to do that. The community is a big aspect, being part of that. Also enjoying it. I typically use Land Cruisers more for overlanding as opposed to wheeling, but I'll do light off-roading every now and then as well. So all those things really interested in me, and just the practicality too. So overlanding, it's definitely gained a lot of popularity, but it's always been there when you really think about it, right? Whether it's in Australia or Africa or wherever, the Middle East, and even in the US, right? There's two aspects to it in my mind. One is the recreation aspect, getting out there, doing some wheeling and maybe doing some camping out with friends. But then there's another aspect of just being more or reconnecting with nature. And with that, and on that end is where kind of the idea about creating a sustainable environment, minimizing the carbon footprint, and just being a good global citizen so we can actually take care of the environment and in some cases help restore and revive these areas. That in itself, overlanding becomes kind of a vehicle or a means to achieve some of that preservation of nature. It's a great way to build a community on people that are like-minded and genuinely passionate about the capabilities and durability of these vehicles.